What if I told you that everything you know about power is a lie? That those who seem righteous are often the most cunning, and those who appear weak may secretly control everything. Throughout history, emperors, strategists, and even corporate titans have followed hidden rules, laws of power that decide who rises and who falls. Power is not what it seems. It is not about brute strength, nor is it always about intelligence. Power is a game played in the shadows, mastered by the few who understand its hidden laws. Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power is a guidebook to this reality, revealing how historical leaders, from Napoleon to modern CEOs, have manipulated, strategized, and conquered. But here's the question: are these laws a path to greatness or a manual for manipulation? In this video, we'll uncover the truth behind the most powerful laws, how they work, who has used them, and whether you should follow them or fear them. Let's begin. Law 1. Never outshine the master throughout history. Those who have risen too fast, shining too brightly in the presence of their superiors, have met tragic ends. Kings have exiled their most brilliant advisors. CEOs have sabotaged their rising stars. Even the great Galileo learned this lesson the hard way. In the court of Cosimo de' Medici, Galileo made a fatal mistake. He dedicated one of his most important discoveries, the moons of Jupiter, to the Grand Duke. But instead of making the Duke feel powerful, Galileo made him feel small. The discovery overshadowed the ruler, making him appear insignificant in the face of the universe's vastness. Instead of securing favor, Galileo found himself pushed aside. The lesson: make your superiors feel secure, not threatened. Let them believe your success reflects their greatness. Those who fail to do this risk everything. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. History is filled with betrayals committed not by enemies, but by trusted friends. The very people we believe will protect us often turn against us when power, jealousy, or ambition enter the picture. Meanwhile, enemies, those who have opposed us, can sometimes become our most loyal allies. Take the case of Emperor Julius Caesar. His closest ally, Brutus, was like a son to him. Caesar trusted him blindly, but when the moment came, it was Brutus, his dearest friend, who plunged the knife into his back. Et tu, Brutus? Those words echo through history as a warning. Friends can betray when they stand to gain more from your downfall than your success. But look at Abraham Lincoln. Instead of filling his cabinet with friends, he chose his rivals, people who had once opposed him. Why? Because he knew that enemies, once won over, are more reliable. They have something to prove. They have already opposed you and seen your strength. Unlike friends, they won't betray you out of jealousy. The lesson: friends expect too much, grow entitled, and can turn on you. Enemies, when handled wisely, can become your greatest assets. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Powerful people never reveal their true plans. The more predictable you are, the easier you are to control. The moment people see your real goal, they will resist, sabotage, or even steal your ideas. But if you mislead them, if you appear harmless while secretly advancing your strategy, you gain the upper hand. Consider Otto von Bismarck, the mastermind behind Germany's unification. He never declared his ambitions outright. Instead, he played his enemies against each other, making them believe he was on their side. While others were distracted, he moved his pieces like a chess grandmaster, striking only when the moment was perfect. By the time his enemies realized his true intent, it was too late. Germany was united under his rule. The lesson: never let people see your full hand. Misdirection is a weapon. If they don't know what you're planning, they can't stop you. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Silence is power. Law 4. The more you talk, the more you reveal your weaknesses, your emotions, your intentions. Those who speak too much give others ammunition to use against them. But those who control their words create mystery, forcing others to wonder what they are thinking. Take Louis XIV of France, known as the Sun King. He ruled with absolute authority, but he rarely spoke more than necessary. When his ministers brought problems to him, he would often respond with nothing more than a quiet nod. His silence forced them to scramble for answers, making them feel powerless in his presence. His reputation grew, and his words, when he finally spoke, held immense weight. The lesson: the more you say, the more common you appear. The less you say, the more powerful you seem. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life in the world of power. Perception is reality. Your reputation is your most valuable asset. Protect it at all costs. A single stain, a single moment of weakness, can destroy everything. But a strong reputation can strike fear into enemies before you even take action. Consider Napoleon Bonaparte. His reputation as an undefeated military genius was so powerful that his enemies often surrendered before the battle even began. But once his aura of invincibility was shattered, after his disastrous invasion of Russia, his enemies no longer feared him. They seized their moment, and he was ultimately exiled. The lesson: reputation is a shield. Build it, protect it, and never let a single attack go unanswered. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. What is power without attention? Irrelevance is death. Throughout history, those who mastered the art of attention rose above the rest. Whether through scandal, brilliance, or sheer audacity, they made sure the world never forgot their name. Look at P.T. Barnum, the great showman. He knew that even bad publicity was better than being ignored. He staged outrageous stunts, created controversies, and kept the public talking. His name became synonymous with entertainment, and his fame never faded. Whoa! In today's world, this law is more relevant than ever. Politicians, celebrities, and influencers all understand one thing: visibility equals power. The lesson: it is better to be hated than to be ignored. Attention is currency. Those who control it, control the world. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. The most powerful people in history didn't do everything themselves. They leveraged the talents, ideas, and labor of others, while ensuring they remained in the spotlight. Consider Thomas Edison. He is remembered as the greatest inventor of his time, but many of his most famous inventions were actually created by others in his laboratory. Edison understood that credit, not effort, was what truly mattered. The lesson: work smart, not hard. Let others do the groundwork while you take the rewards. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait, if necessary. The moment you chase others, you give them power over you. Those who control the game always make others come to them. They set the terms, dictate the pace, and make their enemies dance to their tune. Think of Genghis Khan. Instead of rushing blindly into enemy territory, he used deception. He would retreat, luring his enemies into a false sense of victory. Whoa! Or use enemies into a false sense of victory. But once they followed, he would ambush them, striking with overwhelming force. The lesson: never run toward power, make power come to you. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Words rarely change minds. The more you argue, the more resistance you create. Powerful people don't waste time convincing others. They demonstrate their strength through actions. Take Michelangelo. When challenged on his artistic ability, he didn't waste breath defending himself. Instead, he carved the statue of David, a masterpiece that silenced his critics forever. No debate, no argument, just undeniable proof of his genius. The lesson: let your results speak for you. Actions are undeniable. Arguments are forgotten. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Some people bring disaster wherever they go. Their misfortune is contagious, their negativity, a black hole. Powerful people recognize this and cut ties before they get dragged down. Consider Napoleon's advisor, Talleyrand. He avoided losers and failures like the plague. He allied himself only with rising stars and powerful leaders. When Napoleon's empire crumbled, Talleyrand didn't go down with him. He abandoned ship and retained his influence. The lesson: stay close to winners. Distance yourself from those who carry misfortune. Their fate can become yours. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Powerful people never allow themselves to become replaceable. They make others need them so much that cutting them off becomes impossible. Think of Niccolò Machiavelli. He advised rulers to keep their followers dependent, never allowing them to grow too powerful or too independent. If people rely on you for their success, they will never betray you. The lesson: be the source of opportunity for others, and they will never dare to cross you. Law 12. Use selective honesty to disarm your victim. A single act of honesty can create trust, even in the most skeptical minds. But this trust can then be used for deeper manipulation. Consider Count Victor Lustig, one of history's greatest conmen. When he scammed wealthy men, he always started with an act of honesty, returning lost wallets, giving truthful advice. This made his victims let down their guard, allowing him to steal millions. The lesson: honesty is a weapon when used correctly. A little truth can mask 1,000 lies. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to self-interest, never to mercy. People rarely act out of kindness. They act when they see a benefit for themselves. Powerful people understand this and frame their requests around what others stand to gain. Consider Benjamin Franklin. When he needed a favor from a political rival, he didn't beg. Instead, he asked to borrow a rare book from the man's collection. The rival, flattered by the request, lent him the book, and from that moment, they became allies. Franklin understood that people love to feel useful and important. The lesson: never beg for help. Make others feel like helping you benefits them. Law 14. Pose as a friend. Work as a spy. Knowledge is power. The most dangerous weapon is not a sword, but inside information. Those who control secrets control outcomes. Think of Joseph Fouché, Napoleon's chief of police. He built a vast network of informants, gathering dirt on allies and enemies alike. By the time anyone realized he was a threat, he already had enough leverage to destroy them. The lesson: the more you know about others, the more power you have over them. Observe, listen, and never reveal too much about yourself. Law 15. Crush your enemy. Totally half measures create future threats. When an enemy is weakened but not destroyed, they will come back stronger. History is filled with examples of rulers who showed mercy, only to be overthrown later. Consider Hannibal of Carthage. He nearly destroyed Rome but hesitated at the final moment. Rome regrouped, learned from its mistakes, and annihilated Carthage in return. The lesson: never leave an enemy standing. If you strike, strike with finality. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. People value what they cannot have. If you are always present, always available, your worth diminishes. Powerful people know how to make themselves scarce, so when they return, they are admired more than ever. Consider Coco Chanel. She often disappeared from the fashion world for years at a time. Each time she returned, her influence was stronger than before, because her absence had made people long for her genius. The lesson: too much presence makes you ordinary. Disappear, and let people crave your return. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Predictability is a weakness. When people know your next move, they can plan against you. But when they see you as unpredictable, even irrational, they live in constant fear of what you might do next. Think of Vladimir Putin's strategic unpredictability. Whether in diplomacy or warfare, his refusal to play by expected rules keeps opponents guessing, never knowing his next move. The lesson: keep your enemies uneasy. The unpredictable are the most dangerous. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Many rulers have tried to protect themselves by hiding behind walls, cutting themselves off from the world. But isolation only breeds paranoia and weakness. Consider the last emperor of China, Puyi. Trapped in his forbidden city, cut off from reality, he was powerless when revolution came. His isolation had left him defenseless. The lesson: true power comes from influence and alliances, not from walls. Stay engaged with the world. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Not all enemies are created equal. Some will forget an insult, others will plot revenge for years. Powerful people recognize who they can push and who they must handle with caution. Take Al Capone, the infamous gangster. Many underestimated him, treating him like a common thug. But when rivals insulted him, he didn't just retaliate, he erased them from existence. His enemies learned too late that some people never forgive, and when they strike back, they do so mercilessly. The lesson: before making a move, study your opponent. A single misstep could cost you everything. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. Powerful people never tie themselves down to one side. They remain unpredictable, keeping others guessing and competing for their loyalty. Queen Elizabeth I mastered this law. She refused to marry, Despite constant pressure from European rulers, each king believed he had a chance, so they showered her with gifts and political favors. By never committing, she controlled all of them while staying independent. The lesson: commitment is a trap. Stay neutral, and let others fight to win you over. Law 20. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark appear. Weaker, less intelligent, less capable than you really are, so others lower their guard. When they underestimate you, they expose their weaknesses. Take Sergey Brin and Larry Page, the founders of Google. When negotiating with Yahoo in the early days, they acted unsure of their company's value, letting Yahoo believe they were naive. Yahoo rejected buying Google for a small sum. Now Google dominates the internet, while Yahoo is a relic of the past. The lesson: let others think they're smarter, until it's too late for them to realize their mistake. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. Sometimes, surrendering is the strongest move. When you know you can't win, submit, but only to buy time, and strike back later. Genghis Khan faced a city that refused to surrender. He pretended to retreat, making them believe they had won. When they let their guard down, his army returned and wiped them out completely. The lesson: if you must lose, make it look like a willing choice, then plan your revenge. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Spreading yourself too thin makes you weak. Powerful people focus their energy on a single goal or advantage, mastering it completely. John D. Rockefeller built his empire by focusing only on oil, while competitors tried to do too much. His laser focus made him untouchable, crushing those who lacked direction. The lesson: focus on one strength and perfect it. Power comes from dominance, not distraction. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. Power isn't just about force, it's about influence. The smartest leaders understand how to navigate social hierarchies, flatter the right people, and move up without making enemies. Nicolas Fouquet, a minister of France, failed this law. He flaunted his wealth in front of King Louis XIV, making himself look like a rival. The king saw him as a threat, and threw him into prison for life. The lesson: in politics, business and life, never make your boss feel inferior. Appear useful, not threatening. Law 25. Recreate yourself. Powerful people don't let others define them. They craft their own identity, becoming who they need to be to win. Consider David Bowie. He didn't stick to one persona. He reinvented himself constantly, staying ahead of trends. Each transformation made him more powerful, more relevant, more legendary. The lesson: never let the world put you in a box. Reinvent, evolve, and stay ahead. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. True power means never getting your hands dirty. Let others do the dirty work for you. Cardinal Richelieu, the power behind the French throne, never directly punished his enemies. He had executioners, spies, and officials do it for him. His reputation remained untouchable, while his enemies disappeared. The lesson: make others take the fault. Your hands must remain clean. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe. To create a cult-like following people crave. They want to believe in something greater than themselves. Powerful leaders understand this, and create movements, not just ideas. Steve Jobs turned Apple into more than a company. He created a cult of innovation, where followers saw Apple as a revolution, not just a brand. His influence became larger than life. The lesson: give people something to believe in, and they will follow you anywhere. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Hesitation is weakness. The moment you act timidly, others sense it and exploit it. True power lies in bold, decisive moves. Cortés, when landing in Mexico, burned his own ship so his men had no choice but to conquer. There was no retreat, only victory or death. His boldness led to an empire. The lesson: hesitation kills. Act with confidence, and others will follow. Law 20. Plan all the way to the end. Short-term thinking destroys power. The most successful leaders see 10 moves ahead. Napoleon Bonaparte was a brilliant strategist, but he failed this law. He invaded Russia without planning for the brutal winter. The result: his empire crumbled. The lesson: Plan for every possible outcome. Never act without seeing the end game. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Effortlessness is power. If you struggle openly, people doubt your ability. If you make things look easy, they assume you are naturally superior. Michael Jordan dominated basketball, but he never let anyone see the sweat. His smooth, effortless style made him a legend, while those who struggled visibly were forgotten. The lesson: mastery should look natural, even when it's not. Never reveal the hard work behind your success. Law 30. 1. Control the options. Get others to play the cards you deal. The most powerful people don't fight battles. They make others choose between preset options, both of which serve their interests. Take Henry Kissinger. When negotiating peace deals, he never asked, "What do you want?" Instead, he presented 2 or 3 choices, all favoring the U.S. His opponents felt they had control, but in reality, they were just picking the least bad option he had designed. The lesson: frame the choices. Make people think they have control, when in reality, you've already won. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. People don't want the truth. They want illusions that make them feel powerful, important, or safe. The best leaders give them what they crave. P.T. Barnum, the famous showman, understood this. His circus wasn't just entertainment. It was a world of fantasy, where the impossible became real. His customers paid not for reality, but for the thrill of believing in something magical. The lesson: truth is overrated. If you can sell a dream, you can control the dreamer. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness. Find it, and you control them completely. J. Edgar Hoover, director of the FBI, kept secret files on politicians, actors, and business leaders. He knew their vices, affairs, and hidden fears. No one dared to cross him, because he owned their secrets. The lesson: find what people fear or desire most. That's the key to their obedience. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king. To be treated like one people. Respect confidence. If you act like you deserve the throne, they will treat you as if you're already worthy. Louis XIV, the Sun King, dressed in gold, walked with an air of divine authority, and made sure no one ever saw him weak. His entire rule was built on the illusion of grandeur, and people believed it. The lesson: carry yourself like royal, and the world will bow to you. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Impatience is the enemy of power. The best strategists know when to strike, and when to wait. Julius Caesar waited years before crossing the Rubicon and taking Rome. He could have acted earlier, but by waiting, he ensured that when he finally moved, the Senate was powerless to stop him. The lesson: time is a weapon. Use it wisely. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. The moment you show frustration over something you can't have, you lose power. Instead, act as if you never wanted it. Napoleon's rival, Talleyrand, understood this well. When others insulted him, he never reacted. He let them believe their words meant nothing. His silence drove them mad. The lesson: control your emotions. Indifference is the ultimate show of strength. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. People remember what they see, not what they hear. Powerful leaders use grand visuals to shape perception. Adolf Hitler used massive rallies, banners, and synchronized marches to make his movement look unstoppable. The spectacle created an illusion of power far beyond reality. The lesson: dominate perception, and you dominate reality. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. Expressing radical ideas openly is dangerous. Smart people hide their true thoughts and blend in until it's safe to reveal them. Galileo Galilei, when promoting his ideas about the universe, first flattered the Pope before publishing his findings. This strategy kept him alive, while others who spoke too freely were executed. The lesson: play along with the system until you're powerful enough to change it. Law 30. Stir up waters to catch fish. Chaos creates opportunity. The best strategists use disorder to weaken their enemies. Mao Zedong thrived on instability. During revolutions, he spread conflicting messages, causing confusion. While his rivals fought among themselves, he took control. The lesson: when people are in chaos, they're easy to manipulate. Law 30. Despise the free lunch. Nothing is ever truly free. Every favor, every gift, every helpful offer comes with strings attached. The Rothschild banking dynasty built its empire by never accepting charity or they only played the game on terms. The lesson: if you take something for free, you become indebted. Always pay your own way. Law 30. 1. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. Replacing a legendary figure is a dangerous game. You will always be compared to them and likely fall short. Alexander the Great's generals tried to rule after his death, but none could match his. His empire shattered because no one could fill his shoes. The lesson: don't follow in legend's footsteps. Create your own path. Law 3. 2. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Powerful groups are held together but will move them, and the rest will crumble. Edgar Hoover used this tactic to weaken the mafia. Instead of attacking the organization, he focused on taking down the bosses. Once they were gone, the mafia lost its strength. The lesson: take out the leader, and the followers will fall into disarray. Law 32. Work on the hearts and minds through actions. What emotion does. Powerful leaders will by appealing to feelings, no reason. John F. Kennedy inspired America, not with statistics but with passionate speeches and great visions. His words made people believe. The lesson: make people feel something, and they will follow you. Law 34. Disarm and infuriate with the law. The best ways to destroy an enemy is to imitate them, exposing their flaws. Gandhi used this against the British Empire. He didn't fight them directly. Instead, he mirrored their hypocrisy, showing the world how their civilized rule was built on oppression. This forced them into a moral crisis. The lesson: sometimes, the best attack is a reflection of your enemy's weakness. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much. At once revolutions that move too fast create enemies. Change must be gradual to be accepted. Deng Xiaoping, China's leader, modernized the country, but he did it slowly, blending communism with capitalism. Had he moved too fast, the system would have collapsed. The lesson: radical change involves backlash. Ease people into it. Instead, Law 46. Never peer too perfect. Perfection breeds resentment. The moment people see you as too flawless, they will seek to destroy you. Julius Caesar pretended to be humble, refusing a crown multiple times before finally taking by appearing. He avoided jealousy until his final mistake. The lesson: flaws make you vulnerable. Show them strategically. Law 47. Do not go past the mark you have, for overreaching leads to downfall. Knowing when to stop is key to long-term power. Napoleon was unbeatable until he pushed too far into rule. His ambition destroyed. The lesson: win gracefully, stop before power turns into self-destruction. Law 48. Assume formlessness. The greatest power is adaptability. If you can't be, you can't be defeated. Bruce Lee understood that. Be water, he said. Water takes any shape. It can crash, or it can flow. The lesson: be flexible. Rigidity is weakness. Power is not just about strength. It's about strategy, patience, and understanding human nature. The greatest leaders, conquerors, and visionaries didn't just act, they mastered the game. Which law of power do you find the most useful or the most dangerous? Let's continue the conversation in the comments. And if you found this video insightful, make sure to hit the like button. It helps more thinkers like you discover these ideas. For more deep dives into philosophy, power, and history, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There's so much more to explore, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay strategic, and keep questioning everything.